Okay, so it is Wednesday evening. It's just gone 5. So I said in the last video that I'm going to aim to train at 4ish most days, but today my mum came over and we were painting the living room until about 3, and then she left and I want to come upstairs and get all of my client messages replied to. So I've literally just finished those. So it's 5:05. I am literally now about to go downstairs and go out and train though. Like I say, I've got changed. I've put my clean trappies on that aren't covered in paint. But it's just week 1, so it's very light. Deadlifts, last and press, should be nice and simple. Zuko is exhausted because this morning is so normally in the mornings he sleeps, but this morning my mum got here just before 9, and then an electrician came over he works with my dad quite a lot. He's friends with my dad. He came over and we went through the whole house to figure out what we want to have done, and he's going to put a quote together for us. But because of that, Zuko, he firstly went nuts when my mum got here, and then he went even more nuts when the electrician got here. So he's had a very busy day of just annoying people, chasing around, and now he is exhausted. Went on a lovely lunchtime walk with him as well, with my mum through the woods. So that was good. I'm feeling in a really good mood actually. To be fair, this happens anytime I have either a podcast booked in or I just like chat to my clients for a little while, like I just end up in a good mood, which is a sign I'm doing the right job. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling pretty happy. Woke up pretty good time today as well. Like I got up at 7, but I didn't need to get up at 7, but I was like, I feel wide awake. Having a puppy is a lot of work, like a lot of work. It's not easy. It's not, like, as much as they're adorable, they are stressful. They bite you all the time. Like they are a lot of work. Okay. But something I'm really thankful for with Zuko is he forces us to go to bed at a good time. Like if we're not in bed just after 10, he will bring himself up to bed to go to bed at 10 because that's his routine. Which means by 7 in the morning, I'm wide awake. I'm ready to get up. Like it's very rare that I feel like I need to sleep for longer than that. So sleep is good. Everything is good. Food's been pretty good. Had tortilla for lunch with my mum, so that was lovely. Don't know what we're doing for lunch tomorrow because she's here tomorrow decorating as well. But tomorrow is a low carb day, so I won't be able to have a tortilla. So we'll see what the plan is for tomorrow. But I'm feeling really good. I think also why I'm in a good mood is because I feel like we're finally making progress on the house. Like the living room is nearly finished painting. Literally just need one more coat on, so we've done half the room, finished half the room. One more coat on the other half of the room. And then living room is done, at least until all the electrics have been done, and then we'll have to top bits up, but that's all fine. Yeah, then literally we've just got the bedroom to decorate or paint, our main bedroom to paint, and the porch, but the porch is tiny, so that won't take long to do. I just need to actually make myself do it. But the house is getting there, plans in place. Obviously, once we get the quote through for the electrics, we'll then also get the floor sorted, because for the electrics, they're gonna have to kind of go through the floorboards, which is not a problem because Zuko's already ripped the carpet up, so that was quite easy for the electrician to have a little look at today. So yeah, basically, things are going forwards with the house, which I'm really happy about. Had an amazing inquiry call yesterday and she has signed up, so also really excited about that. I think everything's just kind of coming together, you know? Everything's feeling good. I'm feeling rested. I think after last week being quite down and into a bit of a dip, it's been nice to have a few productive days this week and just like, also just a bit more relaxed productive days. Like I don't have to be anywhere at a certain time or anything like that. Like I can just take my time with that. And got some jobs and stuff done today that I've been putting off for ages too. So I'm pretty happy. Plan for deadlifts for tonight is just to do I think it's a top triple at 145. So that should be easy peasy. I think that's right. 145, yeah. And then back off 5s as well. I think I've got last and press 7s. I think I have got last and press 7s. I can't remember if it's, oh no, it is ascending 7s starting at 75. So that won't take me 10 minutes either once I'm out there. I also thought I would chat to you guys in here because it's obviously a bit cold outside. It's also been pouring with rain today. So I got absolutely soaked on our dog walk earlier, but that's fine. And that's what I was saying to Mum as well about like, obviously I grew up with dogs, so I know about having dogs, but my mum did most of the walking when we were kids. Or I say kids, teenagers. But I would never have gone outside for a walk today in the pouring rain if I didn't have Zuko. So him, obviously, some dog owners still wouldn't have gone out for a walk in the rain, but I like to take him twice a day. It's good for him to go twice a day, especially because he can't go for long at a time and he has so much energy. So we're going twice a day, and like it forces me out of the house, and there is nothing better for you than just going for a little stroll outside, get some fresh air, especially because it's not been a dull day. It's literally just been rainy. So yeah. Anyway, I'm literally just talking for the sake of talking at this point. So I'm going to stop talking And I am going to go and train. I'm going to get it done in good time, and then we've got to do upper body accessories later as well. And I need to make a bolognese at some point, which I might do before we go to accessories, but I need to eat it after because that's all I've got left to eat today. And I just had my pre-workout apple. So yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm gonna stop talking and go train.
Really been going back to back to back to back to back to back to back, like the neighborhood warriors. I don't miss, I don't play none, I don't diss, I don't say none. I go swish, that's an A1. I eat steak with no A1. Tell the chef, I said thanks. Tell I'm in the bank. Tell my mom I'm living good. Tell my kids don't stress a thing. I go back to back on the drops, drop a lot, and she pack the bag. She shot till we drop. I just wake up, I don't say nothing. I'm on go, I don't stay long. I've been up now, that's a case one. I've been down too, like the day strong. I got summer toys for the summer boy. I keep drummer boys in the summer boy. I keep making noise, I've been paranoid. This is God body, you can never void. I don't miss, I don't play.
Okay, so literally just finished my session. I feel like I'm sitting the wrong side for this lighting, but it's okay. Just finished my session. Really good session, actually. Obviously it's really light, so everything's gonna feel fine regardless. Pauses on last and press could have been a little bit stricter, but I was happy that they were at least mostly paused. But deadlifts, so top set felt fine. Week one, things never feel fantastic, but it's obviously light enough, and it's like really light with deadlifts that it all moved easy enough, comfortable enough. But what I'm really happy about is on the final rep of my first set of back offs, which is the one that I filmed, I really felt like I'd nailed, like even really overthinking it, staying on my legs more and treating the deadlift more like a leg press. And I feel like then for the next two sets of back offs, which I actually didn't film, I felt like my legs were doing a lot more of the work, which is obviously what I need. Like my legs are strong. I just need to figure out how to use them perfectly for my own leverages within the deadlift. And I think that clicked tonight. Like it could just be a one-off, fingers crossed it's not. But like my quads are actually burning a bit from deadlifts, which never happens. So I'm really happy about that. Like if I can get that to click between now and comp, like my pull will be huge. So I'm really happy with that. That's something I've been wanting to work on or trying to work on for a long time now. And it definitely felt good. Like I'm really, really happy with that. And it was a really good session overall, actually. I think obviously being in a better mood than I was like for the last week or so massively obviously helps. The better mood you're in, the better your training's gonna go. But no, like I'm so, like my legs actually sore. Like that's so good. So plan is now, so it's actually 6:30. I didn't start training until a little bit later than planned, but it was like 5:10 by the time that I kind of was ready to go out and train. And my boyfriend gets home from work at like 20 past to 5:30, like anywhere in that range. So I was like, I'll just wait for him, have a catch up with him, and then I'll come in here and train. So I actually didn't start training until about 5:45, and it's just gone 6:30. So good time wise as well. Yeah, it was also an aeroplane going over the house. Really happy, is all I've got to say. Not overly interesting clip. Okay. So I've just awkwardly turned my whiteboard around because I left my tripod downstairs and I couldn't be able to carry it upstairs. So I've balanced my camera on, oh God, he's gonna steal things. I balanced my camera on top of my monitor for my computer, which meant my whiteboard was in full view and I've got client comp dates and everything on there. This is my naughty dog. Let me put him outside. Okay. So yeah. So yeah, my whiteboard has client comp dates on. I don't want all my client names in this video. So, turn that around, very awkwardly just now behind me in the middle of the room. But anyway, so it is Friday afternoon. Guys, who knew that if you stick to your macros, your weight comes down? Actually, I said I haven't actually fully stuck to them, so they're a bit of a story. So, Friday afternoon, two new low weigh-ins in a row. So on Wednesday, I was 87.2. Thursday, down to 86.8. And Friday, today, 86.7. So new low weigh-in of 86.7. Not ending the month as light as I want to be, but I'm actually pretty happy with that because I've not been that strict this month either. I have had multiple takeaways in meals out. Well, I've had a single meal out, but I've had a couple of takeaways and stuff. So I'm not mad at that. Also weight is quite quickly trending down now as well. So Very happy. Also, final day of the month, my average steps for the month. So the goal was 12k steps a day, but I said from the beginning it was more going to be like an average rather than a set in stone every single day I have to do 12k steps. So currently my average for the month from the first 27 days of the month is 12,253. However, I am already on just under 11,000 and it is 20 past 4. I still have another dog walk to do and I have a few jobs to do around the house as well. So we are on track to smash 12k steps all of February. Very happy with that. Surprisingly, my feet have actually kept up with it. But what I was actually going to say was, so I actually went over my food on Wednesday. I don't know what happened Wednesday. Very weird. I mean, I spent the whole day painting the house, which obviously a bit more energy exertion than I would normally do sat at my desk all day. Same thing Thursday, I was painting as well. So Wednesday, I finished painting the house. I think my mum left here just before 4. I then had a snack, went and trained, whatever. After training, I felt okay. Had a little bit of a break where I was going to come in, meal prep, walk Zuko, go to the gym, and then eat my meal prep. Go to the gym, do my accessories for context. But I walked Zuko. I didn't meal prep because I couldn't be asked, if I'm totally honest. I was feeling very lazy. I went and had a protein shake. I walked Zuko. And then Zuko's walk's literally like 25 to 30 minutes at most. Like, they're not that long because he's still so small. I was about 5-10 minutes from home and I just suddenly went really dizzy and weird. And I didn't feel like I was going to pass out, but I did not feel overly stable or good. So I came home and I just sat on the kitchen floor with him for a few minutes and I was like, I feel like I'm not in the right place to go do my accessories right now. So I had some yogurt, I had some chocolate chips in there, a nice little treat. I was going to make some granola up with the banana that we had left, but 1, that would have taken a while. I was feeling incredibly lazy this evening, or that evening, and 2, that would have been a lot more extra carbs than what I really wanted to go over. So basically I went over my calories on the Wednesday because I felt so crap. Then I went to the gym, came back, and to be honest, I went straight to bed. I didn't even have anything else after that. I just went straight to bed because I just did not feel good. But I had a new low weigh-in on Thursday. I think this is where something I want to speak about. It is so important. Like, yes, you should stick to your macros, and some days you're not going to feel as good as others if you're in a deficit. That's just the name of the game, and that's okay. You shouldn't feel rubbish every single day unless you're like bodybuilding prepper. Here, speaking as powerlifters, we should not feel like crap every single day that we're in a deficit, because if we do, our training is not going to be good, is it? Let's be honest. I wanted to just basically talk about the fact that as a nutrition coach, obviously I coach myself, you need to communicate with your nutrition coach if you have days like that. If you have days where things just don't feel as good, like if it's just a little bit of a one-off and you feel mostly fine and you know you can push through, you're just a little bit hungrier, that's one thing. I don't think my diet was the reason I didn't feel fantastic. I think potentially I don't know, just not feeling 100%, whatever. And we all have days like that. But you should always communicate with your nutrition coach, or at least make notes, depending on how, like for myself, with my clients. If I had a client message me, be like, look, I've got to train in a little while. I know most people's accessories they do straight after their SBD movements or whatever, but with me, like I go to a gym, so I have to take that little break in between. But if you're not feeling 100% going into a session and you need some extra carbs to get through that session and your body is telling you need something extra, communicate that with your coach. Like, I would always expect my clients to WhatsApp me and speak to me about that rather than just kind of suffering through it, having a shit session, because at the end of the day, performance is the most important thing here. Like, we are in a performance sport, like we need to look after ourselves. And sometimes that might mean going a little bit off plan with our food. And I say off plan very loosely because, I mean, I didn't have the most ideal snack. Like, I shouldn't have probably had yogurt. Like, I should have found something a little bit better. But if you need something extra to be able to get through your training, have that little something extra, but communicate it with your coach, basically. I think that's something with nutrition coaching that is quite difficult. Like, I have a bit of a range of clients that I work with. Like, I've got some clients that I work with that I've worked with for years. They don't particularly track. I'm just kind of here as a bit of a sounding board and for a little bit of accountability, but they've not really got any, like maybe they're trying to lose a little bit of weight or something, but it's like a very slow process, or like they're just kind of comfortable working with me and we've just got that routine and that relationship now where I am just literally just here for accountability more than anything else. And then I've also got clients who want to absolutely be competitive, max effort, like make the most of their training, which means making the most of their nutrition to help with their training. They contact me over they monitor and track so many different details, so many different aspects. And then some people want to do that, but then they don't communicate. And the biggest barrier, I think, with nutrition coaching is that communication, because I need to know as much as possible about your nutrition to be able to help you. Like, I'm not, like, with training, it's one thing because you see the SBD movements, you see that. But with nutrition, I'm not seeing every single thing a person puts in their mouth. I'm not seeing the time between their last meal and their training session every single time they train, and vice versa with the time between the end of their training session and their next meal. Like, those are details that as a nutrition coach, I want. I want every single detail. But I think some people obviously find that hard. But then there are also clients that do self-regulate and just kind of do all the right things. They don't necessarily need to lean on you too much. I also think if you're someone that needs to cut and you're hiring a nutrition coach, please share every single detail, like please. But my clients, to be fair, they're fantastic. And also as a coach, I think you have to take accountability if your clients aren't communicating, because you need to tell them to communicate, and not just tell them to communicate, obviously, but you need to explain to them what you expect, because nutrition coaches they're not new in powerlifting, but they're getting a lot more popular quite recently. And a lot of people haven't had a nutrition coach before, so they don't know what they're supposed to be giving you. So as a coach, you also have to take accountability of asking for specific things, asking for specific details. And also with that, to be fair, advice to any newer nutrition coaches, don't expect clients to give you every single thing from day one. Some people will be able to do that, but other people, it takes time. Same as with powerlifting, like you're not gonna get everything right from day one, right? So with nutrition, like I might start off by saying, okay, let's just get you used to tracking your normal diet, your normal food. Once you get used to that for a couple of weeks, all right, well, we'll start having macro goals. We'll give you a couple of weeks to get used to hitting those. Or we'll focus on meal timings around training first. It depends from person to person. But then we'll maybe go down the route of focusing on meal timings. Okay, well, what are you eating pre-workout? What are you eating post-workout? How can we make it so that a lot of your carbs are centered around your workout rather than obviously they should be fairly spaced within your meals, but pre-workout, post-workout carbs, incredibly important for training and recovery. And yeah, I'm kind of going on a bit of a tangent. I've definitely not explained this as I wanted to, but I do this every time. I also feel really weird talking to my camera here rather than over here, so that's putting me off. Anyway, I basically just want to say that with the nutrition front, something that I was thinking about earlier, and I've actually listened to a podcast that also kind of were talking about it too, like communication is everything when you have a coach. And I know I'm self-coached, so it's a bit different. Like I communicate everything with myself because I am myself, but you should communicate. If you want the most out of your coach, please communicate. And also, coaches need to communicate what they need from their athletes as well. This is not the tangent I expected to go on. Also, definitely haven't worded this as I wanted to, but it's okay. I feel really awkward talking to the camera in a different place to normal. Something funny that's just popped up on my computer, so I'm just working through some replies. I've actually not got too many left. I have nearly finished for the day. But because it's a Friday, I let myself take things a little bit slower before I log off, because normally on a Friday I can log off between 5 and 6 most weeks, unless I've got other bits I want to get done. But just from like the bulk of my work. And actually I was just going through my computer because I just had to save a few things that the client sent over and then add them to my drive. But when I was then going on my computer and looking at my files, I found I'm going to open it, but I'm not going to show you guys, at least not right now. So I've always been self-coached, and I would argue, if I'd have hired a coach back when I was a junior, my hand's very close to the camera, I would probably be ahead of where I am now. I would have probably learned a lot more, but also I probably wouldn't be the coach that I am today. And that's the biggest thing for me, because I wanted to be competitive from the time I found powerlifting. I did have a little bit of a lapse and a little bit of a break in the middle there. But like Commonwealth time in 2019, like I was very much, since I found powerlifting, I've done this sport to get to the top. I've not done this sport just because I enjoy it. There was a lull period where I nearly gave up the sport in the middle, but I'm not taking that into account here. So I don't think I'd be the coach I am today had I not coached myself, because coaching myself forced me to learn as much as possible. But I mean, back in the 2018, 2019 time, no one really knew what they were doing. And yeah, I've just found my program. I was squatting, oh my God, I can't load it. This is so upsetting. Can I load it? I don't have Excel on my computer. I use Sheets for everything, but this was on Excel like back in the day. I remember making these programs when I worked as a personal trainer and I was covering the desk. I would sit and make programs for myself and my friends. Right, let's have a look. So this is pre-Commonwealth. I was squatting 3 days a week. I was only training 4 days actually. That's quite surprising. I thought I'd have been training more than that. I was benching all 4 of those days, I would imagine. And I was deadlifting only twice actually. I thought I was doing more volume than that. I mean, granted, I was doing a top set of 5 on one of these days on deadlifts, then 5x5, and then 3x8 glass floor deadlifts, which to be honest, I probably skipped back then because I don't think I would have done that. But what I find funny when I find old programs out is how much volume I used to give myself. I thought I was indestructible. Like, I mean, in the back of my mind, I do still think I'm indestructible. I'm not, I've been injured. But at this point, I remember I squatted 4 days a week at one point. Where I say I've always been self-coached, that is a tiny bit of a lie, because I remember looking into getting a coach at one point when I was still fairly new, and I actually did the Hybrid Performance Method powerlifting program. It was run by Steffi Cohen and her partner Hayden at the time. They've split up now, I think. I'm pretty sure it was their business. There were other people involved too, like Alex Uslar. I've definitely said his last name wrong. He was like the main powerlifting programmer at the time. And to be fair, he's still on the powerlifting scene. He runs Ghost Gym Miami. Like, he is still very much on the powerlifting scene. He is the untested side, and I think all of them were untested that were involved in this company. But the program itself was actually decent. I don't remember how long I ran it for. I think I ran it into my first, possibly second comp in 2018. But I also remember adapting things around what I wanted to do, but it was very power buildery, and I loved it. And I sometimes think to myself, like, that's, if I decided to kind of take a back seat and not take it as seriously anymore, like, that's probably the sort of training I would want to do. Granted, I still very much am power buildery, but just the way they did it was very different. And I actually really enjoyed it. I've actually still got screenshots of some of the programs on my, or some of the days on my phone that I sometimes find, and I'm like, oh, that's such a fun time. But it was really good for me for when I transitioned from bodybuilding training to powerlifting, because it allowed me to still have that bodybuilding in there, which I think a lot of newer lifters miss. Also, I've just decided this clip's going to be really long, and I'm just going to sit and talk to you guys while I look through my old programs. But yeah, no, I did get injured at this point. But it's just so, I love looking back at old programs so much. Like, oh my God, my squat volume. On day 1, I was doing a 1x1, so top single, and then 5x5. That was all tempo. On day 3, I was doing a 4x7 banded, because people used to tell me my knee cave was bad, but actually no, I need to just learn to work with it rather than against it, which is why I squat narrow now. And then I was doing, this was a 5-day week. And then on day 5, I was doing 5 sets of 6 paused squats, paused eccentric, again, because everyone kept telling me my knee cave was a big problem. It wasn't. It's still not a problem. I've never had, the only time I have knee pain is if I squat in heels all the time, which is why I don't squat in heels anymore. But then when I was, that's why I do so much volume. No wonder I broke. But I love looking back at this stuff, because it just makes me think back to like when I was a personal trainer as well. Like, I really loved in-person training. Like, if it wasn't for the hours, that would have been my dream job. Like, that's why I love coaching, obviously, because it gives me the, like, online coaching gives me the freedom to work within the hours that I want to, and I actually get to sleep. But I did love in-person training so much, like, so much. Like, if money wasn't an object, I would love to just open my own little space and just, like, hang out in there with people and train people and just have fun. Like, I would love that, but money is a problem, and that's not going to happen unless I am suddenly rich one day. But you know, there's that program that I've just found, and there's a few more on here as well. What else have we got? We've got a hypertrophy block. I don't know if I dare look at this. This is back in the days when it was, you would do hypertrophy block, you'd have phases. You do hypertrophy phase, strength phase, peaking phase. So you'd come out of comp and you'd go into like high volume hypertrophy work, and then you'd gradually phase yourself to strength work, and then you'd peak for your comp. Which, to be fair, is still similar process. It's just not as extreme, I think, now. But yeah, that's just these programs. I don't even know how many of these programs I actually did, because I feel like I used to write so many programs for myself, and then the ones I actually did were never the same ones. Like, I would just be bored at work, so I'd make programs. Lots of core work on here as well, which I can guarantee I also would have skipped most of the time. 4x10 high bar squats. I will not be programming myself for that again for a long time. This is obviously when I was switching to sumo, so got some banded sumo in there. I also remember one of my friends at the time, I don't speak to him, I don't know if he powerlifts anymore, I don't think he does, he like moved away and stuff, but he was part of like the local scene for a bit. He wanted to coach me for free. He was kind of getting into coaching, and he was really clever, like such a clever guy, really lovely guy. I don't think he was necessarily the most clever when it came to powerlifting programming, but he was like a great person, and I was like, look, I'm not gonna get a coach. Like, I can't give up that control. Like, still to this day, I can't give up that control. But I was like, if you want to write me a program, I will have a look and potentially we can collaborate. And I remember he gave me, I think this must be it, because I would not have done this for myself. Yeah, so day one was 6x6 double paused squats, bench 4x5 comp pause, deadlift 4x8. And then I remember reading this bit and being like, fuck no. Those three, now I look at and think are ridiculous. Walking lunges, 5 sets of 20 each leg. I was never going to do that. And then pull-ups, sets of 12, 4x12, and then push down 3x12, which that's a bit more reasonable, but that's really funny. I remember reading 5x20 each leg, and that was the thing that put me off this program more than anything else. I was like, fuck that. Sorry, I don't normally swear. Can you tell I've just not really spoken to people today from how much I'm talking? I don't know how long this clip is. And then day 2 on this program was bench. It was a top set of 8 with comp calls, back off 4x8, which is fine. It's just a lot of volume. And then it's dumbbell press, face pulls, seated row, dips, bicep curl, all fine. Like, that's like, the program itself wasn't terrible. It was just the volume. I think I remember reading it and being like, that's ridiculous. Because day 3 again was squatting. So it was 4x8 high bar squats. I remember I wanted to keep in narrow back squats. That was like heels elevated back squats, because that was actually something I picked up from the hybrid days when I was doing their program. I really enjoyed really narrow, close stance, heel elevated back squats. Don't know why I enjoyed them so much, because I remember them being torture. But I remember fighting this guy to be like, no, I really want them in there because I actually find them really fun and they're really good for quad development, to be fair. Then I've got Bulgarian split squats, 3 sets of 15 each. I don't think I've ever stuck to split squats in my program. At the moment, I'm sticking to lunges, and I've been sticking. I don't mind lunges, walking lunges particularly. For some reason, I really enjoy split squats. Nope, hate them. 3x15 on split squats, which I say this, if any of my clients are watching, please do your split squats. I don't skip accessories now, I will say. I program ones that I know I'll do, but then I do that for my clients too. Like, I won't give you something if you're not going to do it. Got stiff leg deadlift in here. The rest of the day's fine, to be fair. It was the fact that it was like 3 days of dead. I just read the last day. Basically, I remember thinking it was way too much volume on squat, bench, and deadlift. Oh, not squat, bench, and deadlift. Sorry, bench. I always used to do tons of volume. Squats and deadlift, it was just too much volume. Squat 4x5 tempo. That's reasonable. That's not a problem. Deadlift 7 sets of 3 paused. No, thank you. I mean, I would do that. I'm sure I've done that much volume in my own programs. Again, at the end of the session, after split squat 3 sets of 10, lunges 5 sets of 20 each leg. No. That's really fun. I love looking back at these, and obviously I appreciate the time put into it. I think I did take some of his ideas into my own program, to be fair, but I don't think it was long after that I got hurt, because that was, well, looking at when it was saved, May 2019, so that would have been I think that must have been just after All England's. I think All England's was May that year, where I qualified for Commonwealth, and then it would have been Commonwealth in September 2019, I think, that I did. But I love finding these so much. I think I've deleted the rest of them. I remember finding some in a Google Drive at one point, and it just made me really happy. Like, it's memories, you know, the memories of baby powerlifter Sian, who really didn't know what she was doing. But yeah, no, anyway, that was completely irrelevant, and I just went a full-on tangent, trip down memory lane and all that. I don't have any other updates. I'm going to wrap the video up here, I think. So it's been a really good week so far. It's week 1, so it's really light, really easy, really comfortable. I'm feeling like a whole new person this week, which is probably why I'm talking so much. I'm actually in a good mood. I feel rested. I feel recovered. I was up at 6 this morning and it wasn't a struggle. Like, I feel back to myself. And I also feel really excited. I think clients have got comps coming up and they are absolutely smashing it, like absolutely smashing it, which obviously puts me in a good mood anyway. As well as my own training, I just feel really good about it at the minute. Podcast's going well. I need to find another guest. So I've got guests sorted for the juniors preview show for British Juniors. I need to find one more guest if I can for the Euros preview show, although I'm tempted to just keep it to just 2 of us, just because I need to get those filmed pretty soon. I've got an episode coming out on Monday with Jane Jones that I loved filming. Like, she's so lovely. And then I've also got one with Marcellus, but the one with Marcellus I'm a little bit stressed about because I need to edit it. the volume on his audio for the first like 20 minutes just kept getting really quiet, and I haven't listened to it back yet. I don't know how salvageable it's going to be. The rest of the podcast, it was fine because he then sorted it. But I don't know how salvageable that first 20 minutes is going to be. But I mean, worst case, I'll just do a little intro at the start and just say that the audio is bad. And if it's not salvageable, I'll just take that part out. I am certain I could ask him to come back on again at a later date. Like he said, he loves doing podcasts and we got on really well. Like he's really lovely. I'll happily have him on again to chat through. Like he was the easy, like I said this at the time, I think, but like coaches, when you have them on, are just the easiest to talk to, which obviously shows that that's an important skill as a coach, right? You need to be able to have conversations with your clients and stuff. Someone actually made me laugh as well because I just uploaded my episode with Peach on Monday, and they were like, oh, I love these episodes with coaches because I just feel like you're on a like recorded consultation call, and I'm always like, which one's she gonna hire? I'm like, none of them. But I wouldn't have coaches on that I didn't respect and rate in the industry that I wouldn't consider having as my own coach as well. So that's the other thing. Like I'm obviously only going to give platform to people that I think kind of deserve it and are good enough to have one. There's plenty of other coaches I still want to have on as well. That's not to say that I wouldn't hire a coach that I haven't had on, because I absolutely would. Well, I wouldn't because I'm not going to hire a coach, but if I was going to hire a coach. Also, I don't know how much I spoke about the Agata Shitco. I say Agata Shitco, that's so disrespectful. Powell, who is Agata's coach, he also coaches a lot of other really strong lifters. His seminar the other day was so good. I mean, it was 4 hours long, so it was long, and bless him, I don't think he expected it to take that long. He even did a half an hour Q&A at the end, but it was all recorded as well, so I can always go back to it if I want to, but it was so good. There were parts where I was like, this definitely isn't something I'm going to use, but there were also parts where I was like, I can see this, and it's just cool understanding how it all works and like the idea behind it. And yes, it makes me want to SBD 6 days a week, but no, I'm not going to do that right now. I think when I get to the point of full-time coaching, obviously if, I'm going to say when though, because I do believe it's going to happen. I'm getting closer and closer, literally by the week at this point. I would love to maybe trial it, but also I'm very scared because I don't want to risk anything, obviously, because I want to keep progressing, keep the momentum that I've got. But it's definitely an option for the future to try and just gradually increase my days and just see how I respond to it. And it's just cool having that understanding of it. And if anyone wants to be my guinea pig with that, please reach out. I'd love to work on that. Obviously, if they're a suitable candidate. If you work a full-time job, you should not be SBDing 6 days a week. Anyway, none of this is probably interesting. I've just gone on a tangent and just talked because I've been on my own a lot of the day and not really talked a lot. I'm going to wrap the video up here. If you made it to the end, thank you, I appreciate it. I have had a bit of a backlog of videos that I am kind of up to date on. I think I've got like 2 more to make now. So some of them have been quite a bit longer than I want them to be because I'm kind of aiming for like 10 to 15 minutes and most of them have still been 20 to 30. But I am hoping to see a lot more shorter content. I also want to ask people what they want to see. I obviously say this a lot and then I forget and just stick to my usual content. But I am trying to now block out more time to actually make content. And would people be interested in, I mean, people have asked before about like programming content and stuff, and I was thinking maybe like how the best way to do this is. Now, I'm quite happy to make like a presentation and almost do it like a seminar, like Powell did, like not sell it, but make it into a YouTube video on how I program. Obviously, it won't cover every single detail, but a good idea of how I look at programming and stuff, or if you've got any nutrition questions you want me to answer, or anything at all. Powerlifting related, dog training related, not that my dog behaves. Yeah, please don't ask me dog training questions. Any questions you guys have that are around the powerlifting space world, they can be refereeing questions, please let me know. You can either message me on Instagram or leave comments and I will do my best to answer them in videos. If there's any topical videos you want to see, let me know. And yeah, I'm gonna just keep putting out content and I want it to be useful to people as well.
I don't diss, I don't say none. I go swish, that's an A1. I eat steak with no A1. Tell the chef, I said thanks. Tell I'm in the bank. Tell my mom I'm living good.